Welcome to Season 3 of Soccer Over Gotham, an NWSL podcast covering New Jersey, New York, Gotham FC. Hosted by Ruby Pinto and Gary Gibson. Welcome to episode 68 of Soccer Over Gotham. We have another great show for all of you. Gary, what do we have in this episode?
A lot. Too much. We'll recap the third game of a historic week for this club. 3 games, 3 wins, 3 clean sheets. Complete team performances where Lynn Williams wins Player of the Week and Abby Smith wins Save of the Week. We have another rain-delayed home game. Last week's guest, Yazmeen Ryan, got the official podcast bump and had herself quite the outing as the team player of the match. Let's see if the fans and we agree. Gotham loses 2 fan favorites. This week's guest is a good one. Our friend Danielle from the KC Blue Crew is going to get us caught up on all the chaos surrounding the current in our interview segment. So much to talk about, but let's just get started. Ruby, how are you?
Oh my God. You know, I love recording episodes, especially after wins. It just makes me so happy. You don't even know. And this team makes me so happy. But going back to, the games, the crowd was amazing. Love the support for Gotham, even especially that game delay.
Yeah, what a night. I joked about last week about welcome to my life, about getting home after midnight after some of these games. I wasn't manifesting, I promise.
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't even stay for the post-game presser again, and I got home at 1:20 a.m. At least it was a good vibe drive home. I would listen to your interview with the player of the match, Yazmeen Ryan, last episode to celebrate. And it was a fantastic interview, if I do say so myself.
Oh my God. Yeah, I had so much fun doing that interview with Yazmeen. I don't know. Hopefully we can have her back maybe later on in the season and catch up with her. But yeah, you're just a champ, just driving 2 hours away, or I don't even know. You drive so much. I'm like, you're a champ. I didn't stay either. I left after 40 minutes of waiting, and I was like, I'm out. I'm sorry. It was a little chilly too. So I went home. I watched it from home. It was such a great game, but I hope and I manifest no more rain, not another rain for another next home game.
Yeah, let's do that. This was also how I ended up spending my 15-year anniversary. I'm kidding. We celebrated all Sunday. Everything was okay.
All right. What did you guys do on Sunday?
We got breakfast. We went to see the movies. Went to the Chevrolet movie. It was fantastic. And then we went out to dinner.
Oh, that sounds good. After a certain age, and this is perfect. You don't want to do something crazy anymore.
Yeah, we will when I'm done with college, but we'll see. All right, let's get to some of the show. Cloud9 news. So Cloud9 is back in the swing of things. I stopped by the tailgate before the game, and the Tifos are back. She, in the dark, found light. That's a great poem, brighter than many ever see.
Yeah, it's really good. And Cloud9 always killing it with the Tifo game. It was such a great Tifo. And agree, it was a great poem. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people have ways to interpret things. As I read it, I was thinking she, Gotham, in the dark. It's kind of like last season, they were in the dark, found light. Look at this season. It's amazing. That's how I saw it.
They found lightning.
No. Oh my God, I can't with you. Yeah, they did too.
All right. This episode is going to have a lot of ups and downs, so be prepared. First, some ups. Ruby, we did it. 10K downloads. For a niche show inside a niche market, that's not too bad. Not bad. Obviously, thanks to everyone who invested even 1 minute in our project. Our a podcast download is recorded after a listener spends 1 minute listening to it as an episode. So therefore, 10K people spent at least 1 minute on our podcast. Thanks to everybody.
It's amazing. So that means that a minimum of 10,000 minutes were listened. I think this is why we put the interviews at the end. So you guys have to listen throughout the whole thing. But seriously, thank you for listening, and 10,000 listens. It's very good. Thank you.
Special thanks to Jenna Tonelli and the team over at the Local W, Jenna, Noella, Nubia, etc., etc., etc. Each one of them has greatly impacted this show. It's a community project. We can't do this without any of them.
Yes, we love our friends. Thank you so much just for giving the support. And it's always fun catching up with you at the games.
All right, now on to some downers. Breaking news, a couple hours before the podcast records, Victoria Pickett was traded to the Courage.
No, I can't believe it. I didn't see this one like coming at all. Yesterday, you sent me that World Cup roster scenario through text. That included Pickett. Now you're going to have to redo that roster without Pickett. But seriously, I did not see this one coming. Pickett was almost, she was acquired almost at the end of last season. So she's pretty new here. Not new, but she's been here for a short period of time. We just wish her the best. And it's odd that, she got traded as well because she had a 3-year contract.
Yeah, she did just sign that. But Ruby, the NWSL and this team, Gotham FC, cannot let me have any relaxation. So today, it's a beautiful day. And I'm like, you know what? Forget your homework. Let's just go to the park. Let's go rollerblading. Let's just get out there and relax. I'm listening to the Snacks podcast. I'm in my happy place. Then I get the DM. Big sigh. Was expecting Victoria to play her former team this weekend. And yes, we do discuss Victoria as a fan favorite in this week's interview. But now, Victoria is going to play her former team this Wednesday. Again, very sad. Good luck, Victoria. The question remains, though, what does Gotham do with this roster spot and this cash? Stay tuned. Now, another player was waived, and it was fan favorite keeper Hensley Hancuff. Ruby, your thoughts?
Another sad news. You just keep breaking bad news after bad news. And we're definitely heartbroken about this news. She has so much talent, and honestly, we just wish her nothing but the best in her career. And if anyone out there wants to go back and listen to the interview Hensley had with Gary, it's really good. You guys should listen to that.
At the time, Gotham was at the player limit. Teams generally don't keep 4 keepers. The next team who gets Hensley is getting not only a great player, but an even better person. So despite not playing a single minute for Gotham FC, she was our most downloaded player interview. Granted, that was the same week that Scott Parkinson was let go, but I think it's her. She was a player that was so easy to root for and will continue to do so. She just played for the U23s. Someone's going to take a chance on her, and she's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. If there's a team looking for a quality keeper, yeah, they got to go with Hensley. She's the one.
I don't know how early the Bay team can sign players for next season, but hey, she's out there. Sign her, put her on loan. You got yourself a future cornerstone of your team.
Yeah, there's that Bay team or the Royals. We'll see.
True. All right, but not feeling sad. Positive vibes from here on out. The off-season official is official. According to Mindy Calalane, Adweek senior TV reporter, Midge Purce's upcoming series, The Off-Season, locked down the producers from the Netflix F1 series and the Vanderpump Rules. The NWSL is about to have its first reality series.
Oh my God, Gary, this is seriously, like you said, a roller coaster of emotions here, this show. But first you give me sad news. Now you give me this. This is amazing. And Jenna and I were talking about the off season a few weeks ago, and I am so glad it's coming back, and it's coming back bigger and better. Man, I wish I was part of the crew, the off-camera crew. I don't know. I think it would be so fun to watch and just be there.
Yeah, this is going to go a long way in growing the league and getting eyeballs on this club. I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. But Ruby, we do have a game to break down. Let's do it, shall we?
Let's go.
All right, we got the Courage at home. Gotham is coming into this one with some pretty good vibes. 2 games across 2 competitions, 2 wins, 2 clean sheets. Last time Gotham had 3 consecutive wins was way back in 2016. And the Courage are a team that just lost to Bina and Ordonez in the offseason and are struggling a bit to get their identity back. However, Caroline is still one of the top attackers in this league. Onto the roster injuries, Torres, season-ending injury. And then Amani Dorsey, excused absence. Again, interesting. Neiswanger and Purse are questionable for this one. Now, here we get to the formation is a 4-3-3. Smith back in goal. O'Hara on the right back, Krieger and Jean in the center back, Edmonds on the left, Mewis, Long, and Zerboni in the middle, and Ryan, Williams, and Anamanu across the front. Ruby, have any thoughts?
I kind of miss Midge in the starting lineup, but then again, there's so many great players, you really can't mess this up. Plus, this week there is another 3-game week, so probably they just needed her to be 100%.
Yeah, almost the mad scientist strikes again. Edmonds as a left back when Ellie is a natural outside back. Okay. Zerboni up the field in the destroyer role was a brilliant tactical choice. More on that later. But let's just get to this game and get to some of our thoughts and takeaways. First 5-10 minutes of any game is always nervy. And the Courage, who know who they are better of the two teams, gets the better of Gotham going on early. The Courage outpossess everybody, but it is finding hard to build out as Zerboni is shadowing their main pivot in O'Sullivan, choking out any of her service. Gotham is being aggressive and just shooting from anywhere, forcing Murphy into multiple saves. They enter the half with momentum. Your thoughts on this first half, Ruby?
Yeah, I mean, we all saw what O'Sullivan did in Orlando, and I'm pretty sure Gotham didn't want any surprises, any surprise goals out there. And I really liked that like Gotham, their hustle throughout the game. They kept pressure up high, defending right away. If they lose the ball, they go right after the ball. If one fell, they'll get up so quickly, run to the ball again. And then they have their teammates back as well. So one will come back to cover if they needed to. We also saw Lynn Williams defending multiple times.
Yeah. The Courage like to compress the field. They shift a lot of the players to one side. It makes it really difficult for teams to find space. But because of Krieger's ability to use space and find outlets, and Long and Christie's ability to play long switches, Gotham is able to force the Courage to open up, and they almost punished them for it in the first half.
Yeah, and what a difference from last year. This is what we've been waiting for, all last season. And I don't know, it's just great, that Gotham had such a good first half.
Yeah, what a difference Ali Long makes. Then we get to the rain delay, delayed for 2 hours. And, props to Jenna Tinelli for trying to run a Twitter space to keep us informed and entertained. Kawasumi and Flores were just casually hanging around the concourse. And lastly, I am starting a GoFundMe to get a retractable roof on Red Bull Arena.
Oh my God. We're going to need like a lot of donations for that one. And if we really start now, maybe like by 2025, we'll be able to afford it. But then going back to Jenna and Twitter Spaces, I like the Twitter Spaces when, we have the rain delays, but I hope it's the last Twitter Space because I don't want no more rain delays. It's kind of becoming a tradition now, like we get a delay, we get a Twitter Space.
Yeah. Player notes. Zerboni was the key in the first half. Brilliant tactical move to just have her in her best role as a destroyer disruptor. Really hurt the Courage trying to do what they want to do.
Another player that was their former team. But Zerboni has been really good this season, and it feels like she's always on the right, like at the right spot, at the right time to block those shots and put the pressure on the other team.
Yeah. Alluding to what I was talking about earlier, about the Courage and the way they wanted to compress the field. If a team like Gotham can play out of pressure, it will often leave the far winger, in this case Ryan, on an island with an outside back, or if the outside back is up the field trying to get width, she's against the center back, which is even better. And Ryan just feasted this game.
Heck yes. And she was woman of the match. Ryan had just a terrific game. She was just taking, advantage of all those opportunities. She was finding those spaces to where to place the ball. Just love her.
Yeah, we need to get more Gotham FC player interviews during the week so we can get more of the podcast bump on the weekend. All right, let's get to the second half. Those of us that were still left in attendance got a great show. Shout out to the Warriors who stuck it out. Sorry, Ruby.
Oh, you just like throwing shade now. I see.
Yeah. All right. Gotham comes out in the second half on fire and finds new energy. Abby Smith makes a terrific double save through traffic to keep Gotham's shutout streak alive. Taylor Smith comes on and is causing all types of problems with her speed and 1v1 defending and attacking. Ryan burns her defender to the end line and finds Lynn Williams for her 60th NWSL goal. Gotham keeps the pressure on and sees this one out. Didn't seem ever in doubt. Your thoughts in the second half, Ruby?
Oh my God. So, sometimes I cannot believe, the Thorns and KC let go of players of the caliber of Ryan and Lynn. And yeah, on that run, Ryan was able to stop a little bit right before she kicked the ball. She kicked such a great pass to Lynn. And I think I've watched that goal about 50 times. I think probably more.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I was just watching that ball from long over and over. That ball is just so perfect.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the goal, Ruby. Since we're here, so many good things here. So Long airmails a perfect ball over the top to Ryan's path. The double move from Ryan to get to the end line. Christy dragging both center backs to the right side of the goal. Lynn with the patience to try to find the far corner. It was a perfect team goal.
Yes, perfect. Perfect, perfect. And I'm telling you, I watched that goal so many times. I did not get tired. And Christy being a decoy, just that was brilliant. I cannot wait to see how this team plays by the end of the season. And one thing I like to see Gotham do next game is to score in the first half.
Yeah, that's the next progression for this team, scoring, yeah, in the first half. But about scoring late, the theme so far this season is the quality of roster depth. I said in the preseason that Gotham now has the ability to not only put pressure on teams, but keep pressure on teams. Now, while other teams are bringing on unproven players and, say, depth players, Gotham is bringing on another set of starters. There has not been any drop off in this team's quality at any point in any game. But getting to the player notes, this was the return of Angry Mewis. Mewis, for all of her talents, can be a bit timid at times. Her best performances, according to me, that I've seen when she plays with a chip on her shoulder. The second half, she was everywhere, putting in tackles, shooting with intent, and showing why she's still one of the best midfielders in this pool.
Yes, and I did miss Angry Mewis as well. Funny thing that you mentioned like Angry Mewis, because I was watching the Snacks podcast, and in this scenario, well, as they were talking about, Sam is actually the angry one out of the two. But anyway, I'm going off track. Angry Muse is so great, and one of the things that I mentioned last season on our podcast was how inconsistent Muse was last season. She has some good games and then some not so good, but the past 5 days I have seen consistency and determination on her part, and I just been enjoying watching her play.
Yeah, speaking of the Snacks podcast, I was listening to it on my trip today.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned they were talking about the rain delay, and Lynn was mentioning that Christy seemed very angry during the during the rain delay. She was mad that it kept getting delayed, and she's like, "They're going to make us play tomorrow. What is going on here?" And it seems like she took all that energy, put it onto the field, and we got Angry Mewis.
Yeah, I seriously thought they were gonna play the next day as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So if there was one positive out of the rain delay, it was Angry Mewis.
there you go.
Another positive about this game is that Krieger was impeccable. All game, she was manipulating the Courage press by taking what they gave her. She was moving into space, finding the right outlet pass. She got stuck on an island with Caroline at one point, who's obviously as dangerous as it gets. Just forced her over the end line with ease. We need her to stay healthy.
Yeah, we do. And also, can we also talk about Ellie Jean?
We can.
She has been playing really well too, and since last season, we knew she was one of the players to watch. But she also was another player that got Woman of the Match. Another strong performance, all around.
As the captain of the original Ellie Jean hype train, I approve that message. Let's get some takeaways. First 3 wins in a row since 2016. First 3 clean sheets since August 2014. This was a pretty historic week. In a week we haven't had that since we've been covering this team.
I know, right? But can we just keep breaking records? I mean, other than this, remember a couple of our players also had the latest goal in the game. So let's just keep breaking records.
Yeah, let's go. One of my favorite things is to watch an opposing team's attacker not get service, and then they have to track back because they aren't getting any service. So at one point, Caroline was defending at the Courage's end line during the run of play. That's the farthest place from our net. I was very happy. Just keep her there. Love to see it.
Yes, at some point, the courage player, the player just became all defenders. They were all defenders. They were coming to defend because Gotham was just coming with everything. It didn't matter if there was a delay or if it was raining or not. They came out with everything.
They certainly did. This team is finally starting to make connections going forward. Both outside backs had 70 touches, and Ryan and Williams had 60. The last game, the pass map showed a clear connection growing between the front line, and Gotham was more advanced in the attacking third than they've been in a long time. So it was all good signs.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Amoros came to save the team. I mean, Gotham had a great 2020 and 2021 season, and then we had an atrocious 2022 season. But now this year, it's like their comeback. It's kind of like a fairy tale from Disney or something.
Yeah, so far so good. Final thought. So about last season, teams defend from the front. So when the forwards last season could not hold the ball, the midfielders couldn't find the forwards. It puts so much pressure on your back line. They bend, and then eventually they break, and then, they get blamed for it. And also the keepers do as well, which is silly. But Long's return, along with Lynn Williams taking up so much pressure,
Mhm.
Niswanger, Bruninia, Ryan being so good this season, this allows for our defense to just relax. It's been really good to see this progression.
Yeah, true. But final thought. I think the progress of this season is so good. Last season, again, like Gotham lost 17 games, which is more than the top three teams from last year altogether. They lost, I think, like 13. I don't really like talking about last season, like I said before. But like Drake says, started from the bottom, now we're here. We are on the fourth place on the standings. And sometimes, I cannot believe it because I still kind of have some PTSD from last year.
Yeah. When we played Orlando, and at the end of the game, we scored that really late goal, I was texting with Bree from the Purple Pulse podcast, and I remember just texting her like, I don't know what to do with this feeling. Because
Right? It's
I
new.
don't, yeah, we're getting a little bit of luck, and I don't know how to handle this. But yeah, post game quotes. If you were wondering what the players were up to during the 2 hour break, Abby Smith says during the delay, the players tried to stay calm. They didn't know how long it was going to be for. They relaxed, they played music, they stretched, stayed off their feet. They had some snacks, some popcorn, some pretzels, some PB&J. They crustables, I think, as Lynn Williams said on the Snacks podcast. The energy chews and things would be easy on their stomachs.
Oh my god, it was probably the PBE and J's, I don't know, but they came out and they performed really well on the second half despite the 2 hour delay. They came out and they were so good. Obviously, when your body like cools off, you might lose like that momentum from, like just from sitting and just being idle for so long. I was just afraid that it was going to be another repeat from the last game with Oil Rain, but it didn't happen. Here we are. We won. It's great.
Yes, it's the PBJ without the crust. The crust is what throws your whole
Oh,
being
you
off.
just gave out the secret.
Yeah. All right, Ruby, any stats of the game?
Yes. So, okay. So, my side of the week, Gotham FC with 19 shots, guys. 19 shots. So, 11 of those shots were from inside the box and 8 of those outside the box. I really, really like the mix here, just shooting from everywhere, Pew, pew, pew.
Absolutely. That was really fun to see. My stat of the week, once again, is 0. Say it with me, fans. You can't lose if the opponents can't score. All right, let's get to our player of the week on Twitter at @OverGothamPod. Fans agreed with the team and chose Ryan slightly over Lynn Williams. Thanks to all the fans who voted. Do you agree, Ruby?
How can I not say Ryan? How can I not agree with the fans? It was her game, no doubt. Who's your player?
I was going to choose Ryan even before the assist. She was having a terrific run out there. Williams almost pulled off the trifecta. She almost had a player of the game voted by the fans 3 times in 1 week, a clean sweep. 4 goals in 5 matches, though, for Williams is pretty darn good, which is equal to, sadly, the most of any player had last season.
Oh my God. Anyway, so I had decided on Ryan on the first half, but ultimately I just wanted to watch the whole game, the second half as well, just to make that final decision. And yeah, with that assist, she just, stamped her name on the player of the week.
Let's get to the standings. We are, as you said, fourth place with a +2 goal differential. We are 1 point from first place. Let's get it.
Nice. Nice. And we could have been on third place if Angel City would have won against San Diego, but they didn't. And now I have a fun fact. So, fun fact, last year, yes, this show I'm talking all about last year, which I don't know why, but here we are. Gotham finished the season with 13 points. This year, we're only 4 points away from that. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. Yeah, such a Jekyll and Hyde these past 2 seasons. Let's ride it out. Let's keep the good feelings going. This week we got before we record our next episode, we'll have 2 games. First is the battle to see who won the offseason is this weekend, and Gotham travels to KC and then to North Carolina on Wednesday to face the Courage with Victoria Pickett. Another 3-game week. These games are coming in so fast.
Yeah, and it's so difficult for the players doing these 3-game weeks, but I think having 3-game weeks just gives other players the chance to play and just get better.
Yeah, agree. So Ruby, any thoughts on these 2 matchups?
First, KC. So this has not been their season so far. And if Gotham keeps playing the way they have, this should be an easy win for them. Now, North Carolina Courage, Gotham got to play with them already. So maybe after reviewing some film, looking at what they did wrong, just correct any mistakes out there, they should be able to win again against the Courage and maybe get even one more goal or something.
Agree. I think the depth is going to be tested again. 2 games, 3 days apart on the road. Big chance to get some separation in the Challenge Cup. Let's do it. So Ruby, what are you manifesting this week?
This week, I am manifesting for the vibes to keep being good at Gotham. What about you?
All ups, no downs. Let's go for it. I am manifesting Lynn to continue her scoring. Her revenge tour is just getting started. She gets a chance to beat 2 of her former teams in 3 days and 3 times within 10 days. Let's go, Bats.
Let's go.
All right. Any random thoughts before we go?
I do have a story for you guys today. So over the weekend, my windshield cracked. So I was driving down the highway. I was not driving behind a truck or anything like that. I was keeping my distance from the car in front of me. And then sometimes you just hear the little pebbles that hit on your windshield, but it's nothing. Well, this time, I don't know how big this pebble was, if a rock, whatever it was. It hit the windshield and it made kind of like a little star, this crack with a little star crack. I was like, well, it's not that bad. It could probably wait. I don't have to do it right away. So then we went to a store. Me and my wife stopped at a store, did whatever we had to do at the store, came out, and that crack turned into it was at least a foot long crack. I was like, dang. So now I have to call the insurance and get that replaced. So that's my
crazy.
story.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, it is. I was like, what the hell is going on? But I mean, when it happened, it didn't sound bad or anything. I looked at it. I was like, oh my God, it cracked a little, but I didn't think it was going to get that big. Do you have any random thoughts this week?
Not really. I am working on a worst case scenario Gotham World Cup post, which maybe I'll get out in the next day or 2. We'll see what happens. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited to go talk to our guest, Danielle of the KC Blue Crew. Should we just get to it?
Let's go.
Let's go. We can't tell the stories of this league without telling the stories of the supporters. Our guest this week, Danielle from the KC Blue Crew, is a terrific resource on getting us caught up on the KC current. Welcome back to the show, Danielle.
Thank you. I'm excited to be back. I love doing this.
Yeah, this is our 3rd season. And how many times have you been on this podcast?
I want to say 3 because I don't think I did it the first couple, one of the games in the first season. And then last season, I think you had a player interview around the same week. So I think this is the third.
I think you're right. And, good thing that there's nothing to talk about right now, right?
Yeah, it's very boring on the KC side. I mean, extremely boring.
Yeah, no big news.
Mm-mm.
All quiet over there. Let's talk Star Wars instead.
Yeah, exactly. Just do Star Wars. It's way more interesting than the boring stuff going on.
Yeah, but let's get into. I guess let's hit our main topic, which is going to be after having I'd say by any measure, a wildly successful season, falling just short of the title. 3 games, 3 losses. You finally got your first wins. Well, first, congratulations on beating the Orlando Pride and scoring on them during regular time, which is...
Yeah, it doesn't happen, apparently, this season. Like, I was waiting for the 100th minute, but 4.
Well, let's go back to your head coach, Matt Potter, was fired.
Yes.
KC put out a statement, said today the KC Current announced that the club has parted ways with head coach Matt Potter related to the issues around his leadership and the employment responsibilities. Assistant coach Caroline Shablam. So she will serve as interim head coach, effective immediately. And the quote was, "We watch the play on the pitch, we keep a pulse on the locker room, and we are constantly evaluating ways to improve our club. And through our ongoing process of continuous improvement, we believe now is the right time for this change." So I'm curious, take us back, because last season was the highest of highs with your coach. Mm-hmm. Everything was going well. Walk us through how you guys felt about the coach and then how this all hit you guys.
Yeah, well, it was at the time definitely like, hey, this is great. We're doing so good, especially after season 1 and all of those issues. Hard to know what to believe. I do remember hearing back and hearing, hey, I let the players decide what to do and all that. I don't know if that's relevant, but I start to see stuff like that. So it could have just always been his coaching style, but it definitely took us all by surprise. It was a slow start. We lost our first 3 games, but we lost our first, X amount last season too. So it wasn't worried, but watching the Houston Challenge Cup game and then Sunday's game, you can tell the team is playing different. And so, it kind of does make sense, watching the player position play, watching them on the pitch. So, maybe it did need to be made right then. Still very confusing.
As a fan of the league, your first instinct is always like, okay, what did he do? Mm-hmm. Right? But you start hearing from the players, and it seemed like the players were kind of shocked too by this announcement, as far as I know. Then, you heard about it's more of as an internal thing. He just didn't get along with ownership. Makes it seem like he was a bad employee.
Yeah. My first thought kind of was like, oh no, what happened? What was the incident? We've all been through it. I mean, it was everybody's first thought, but I do remember in the statement or in some questions afterwards, they mentioned how the PA and the league said there was no need to investigate. And, I definitely trust the PA. Megan Burke is, a rock star. So I was like, okay, if she says it's good, I feel better. So yeah, I think it was just maybe they didn't like how he worked, how he interacted. Yet, like you said, maybe with ownership, maybe with the rest of the management.
Like, how would you consider his tenure here? We'd still look at it in a positive light, or?
I think time will need to tell, because I think that, especially last season, brought us from the bottom of the table to the championship game. So you're like, oh, this was great. I think a lot of people right now are like, oh, who is that guy? I don't care about him, because after these last 2 games, it's like, oh, we're winning again. So I think it's one of those that I think will take time to kind of figure out how to feel. Maybe, maybe we'll look back and be like, oh, maybe that was a terrible, history. Or we'll look back and be like, he transitioned us to what we could be. It's hard to tell. I do know that a lot of us were so hyped yesterday in a way we hadn't been all season. So seems like a nice enough guy. I'm not sure if it will be as positive as, it could be.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're talking 3 games at the beginning of the season, and you guys had a ton of injuries right off the bat.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, your injury list was half of your roster.
If that was the starting 11, that would win the championship, like our injury list by itself.
Yeah. And so how would your thoughts do you know much about the new interim coach?
I don't know much, but the players seem to like her. her coaching style, whether it was being player driven or her deciding those tactics seemed to be good. What I really liked is she very much stressed that she wanted players to be comfortable, to take care, go through this transition and, be in a good place, which I think is always positive. So not to be like, rush into things, but, I think she could be a really great candidate for the permanent head coach spot.
Very good. All right, let's take it back a little bit. Let's just walk our way through. Let's go to the off season, and we'll work our way to present day. On the off season, a lot of teams who have the kind of success that KC had might look at the roster and say, okay, maybe we just need to tweak a couple little things. But KC has gone essentially out and brought in a bunch of new players, sent players out, made some wholesale changes to the roster. So I'm curious your thoughts on that approach.
It was not the approach I guess we expected, but it was fun to watch. I think that the ownership and management, all that, wants to win that championship. I think they took it personally we didn't win. And I think that they want to open up the new stadium with the title. So I think that they decided to go aggressive and try to really take advantage of free agency. And then, getting DiBernardo and Morgan Bryan from Chicago, obviously Dabinia, and then going overseas, which has been really fun to watch. So I think they want to. The whole focus of the season basically is getting ready for that stadium, and I think they want to ring it in with the title. And I think that's been the philosophy of the offseason.
And one, I think, positive note, I think that's come out of this offseason is the team's approach to Sam Mewis. I think the team said that they can, as she continues to recover from her progressive injury, they support Mewis, and the club had bought out her previous contract and signed her to a new contract through 2023 that is focused on her recovery and her future. I thought that was a very nice approach. And your thoughts on that?
I like that a lot. I don't think none of us know what's going on with Sam. When or if she'll play again and all that. It's a great thing that they want to make sure she's still on the team. I mean, she's still a rostered player, making sure that, she has a place, helping her with her recovery. And then when she comes back, got that starting spot ready to go. So I think it's a really good thing. I don't know if that happens as much as it should in any sport. So it was kind of really nice to see, especially for somebody like Sam, who worked all of last season trying to help out. She was basically helping coach. I think it's really nice.
And some people may forget how good she was before she got injured. She was one of the top players in the world at that time. And it's a shame. And these are tricky things. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer. Like obviously with Kristen Press is in a similar situation. Sometimes you just need a couple, clean it out, get it back together. But glad that the team has given her a little more time to relax. She don't have to worry about, at least that's the last of her worries right now, is their contract. So she can just focus on her recovery, which is good. On an interesting, maybe positive, maybe not positive note, we're going to talk about trades away from the team or movement away from the team. We're talking about one of our players now, and we're very happy about it. Lynn Williams explained her situation. I'm curious, did you listen to the Snacks podcast and what your thoughts on her situation?
I didn't, because I was too sad to, I heard other people. It's complicated. I don't necessarily like how it all went down. I think that, and it kind of goes with another player thing that's been in the news, with making sports trades, doing stuff, business as usual isn't really the approach that I think we need to take. I know KC fans have been calling, out, saying, hey, just because, business is business, that's not how it should. If we're players first, we shouldn't do a last second decision to trade Lynn when she's in Australia. That's something that maybe you should discuss before. And, treat your draftees, whether they're going to make the roster or not, with as much respect as you would treat a national teamer. So I think that is one thing that has been not great. At least publicly over the last couple months. I think that, as a fan base, we've been really wanting to push to do better, because Lynn Williams doesn't deserve to get a phone call in Australia right before playing a game saying, hey, by the way, see ya.
Yeah, you have an hour to make this decision. Go for
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Right. There in the NWSL and in sports in general, trades are always difficult to navigate. I understand it from the player's perspective on how difficult it can be. I also understand it from a team's perspective where you don't want to let a player know that you're might be shopping them, because if it doesn't falls through, then you have a angry player on your hand. It could be a locker room problem,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So I get that part of it. I wish teams were more open and upfront about it. But I understand where they're coming from. And sometimes trades come pretty quickly. As you say, draft day, there's trades that happen on draft day that happen in the blink of an eye. You would hope that, I think, as you said, that this shouldn't, being that she's a national teamer, shouldn't really make the difference. It should be just a player thing where you treat all players the same, whether they're a rookie or a veteran. So I get both sides of that, and it stinks all the way. The only way to make a trade that is I guess a positive trade would be if a player requested a trade and he said, okay, I want to go to this team over here and make it happen. And the team makes that happen. That's the only way to make a trade without some type of situation or power imbalance. Right.
And it's complicated because, like, I understand the thought process. Lynn Williams is, they see Lynn, but then they saw Michelle Cooper. She's 20 years old, could be a generational talent. And so it's like, well, you're going to get a good player either way. Right now, I think Gotham's winning the trade. I think that Michelle Cooper will be that generational talent. I think that she's one goal away from unleashing the floodgates. I wouldn't want to make that decision at all,
Yeah.
So.
Also, thank you for Victoria Pickett and Kristen Edmonds.
I'm going to be so sad on Sunday seeing them.
Yeah, they're going to be back in town. That's going to be intense.
Yeah, because the only game we played against y'all after Pickett traded was in New Jersey, so we haven't had a chance to tell her goodbye. And Victoria really was a fan favorite. I think that she really connected, so it hurt a lot. So, ouch. And Kristen, we obviously missed her, especially in the back line on the pitch. But that one, to me, is not so sad for the reason of, if anyone knows Kristen Edmonds, they know how close she is to her family. So it hurts. I did not want her to leave, but knowing that she's close with her family definitely made that better.
Yeah.
Her mom is probably one of our favorite people. She's a Blue Crew favorite. So we're like, no, we can't lose Diane. But knowing that, she's with, it's good. Happy for her.
Yes. I do. I would like to talk to her mother one day, because she's always like checking our social media and commenting and stuff like that. So yeah, she seems like a lot of fun.
We love her down in KC.
All right, so let's go to talk about Cooper. So drafting Cooper, you got your player. What can you tell us about her so far? Out of college, she looked incredible. She looked like a surefire, again, as you said, generational talent. What have you seen so far?
I think that she's close. I think, a lot of people expected a goal by now from her. It's still early. I think that she's 20 years old and adjusting to life as a pro player as opposed to a college player. And then, the style's different, playing at Duke versus here. I think that she is really working hard. And once she makes that connection, I think she'll have so many goals and be so good. I think it's just a matter of time. And I'm really excited. We're all just waiting for that second to happen.
Absolutely. And your thoughts on your overall draft class? Because with KC, you guys didn't have many roster spots, but you drafted a ton of players. So that kind of stinks. But who has made the team that you are impressed with so far?
Robinson. So, with our defensive problem or, issues with injuries, we've had a lot of chance for the rookies to get in there. And from that first game in North Carolina, I was like, wow, she's going to be a star. Just watching her back there, the composure, the calmness on the ball. Her first game as a pro, she was just killing it. So I think that she has been one of the most impressive rookies, in my opinion, in the league. And, with defense, you don't really notice when they're really impressive, but I think she has been.
And let's also talk about some other positives, which are obviously you won the Dabinia sweepstakes, so congrats on that. Everybody in the world was trying to sign her, but she decided to go there. Then you also got Gatrot and Di Bernardo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Talk about some of the new faces, how they've made an impact so far.
I don't think any of us even thought we were going to go for Dabinia. I think we just assumed that wasn't going to happen with our roster. As an Arsenal fan, I was already prepared for her to go. I was like,
Mhm.
yay, she's probably going to be on my team, meaning Arsenal. And then all of a sudden, just weird stuff that, they teased the trade. And then that morning, an Arsenal blog said that they are out of the running. It was like, oh my gosh, we are going to sign Dabinia. How is this happening? So I think wild. I can't believe that happened. And it's really great to see her back on the pitch too. The injury from the She Believes. She scored 2 goals, or 1 Challenge Cup, and then yesterday. She's so much fun to watch. She's even better to watch live.
Yeah, and with Dabinia, I think she's in a better spot now than she was with Matt Potter. I feel like she's a player that likes to find the game. She often will float from one side to the other, find those pockets, and do that. And I felt in Potter's system, it was the roles were a little bit more rigidly defined. So I thought she would struggle more in his system than being allowed to just find the game, which I think she's in a good spot now. And I think now that your team is getting healthy and players are starting to come in, I think it's going to look really good. And you guys had a really solid midfield last season, and you added Gatrot and DiBernardo to that mix.
Yeah.
So how excited are you about that midfield?
Very excited. I can't wait for Gatrot to get back. I think that she's one of the best, World Cup winner, just has done amazing stuff. So I'm so excited to see her back. DiBernardo just came back. She went basically 90 minutes yesterday, which was great. And those two have been playing together for so long that I think that having both of them on the pitch is just going to be even better. I think that they work really well together. And so I think that will bring some leadership and some more cohesion. And I can't wait for them both to be back. And for that midfield is just stacked.
In last game, French did not start. Was there an injury thing, or is it just wanted to?
Yeah, I think they're shaking it up. I think that I love AD more than life itself, so definitely not saying. I think that she struggled a little more this season, and I think with the goalkeeper, sometimes you have to just mix it up, and it inspires goalkeepers. Everyone knows very competitive, so I think it was just a little change of pace. I think AD will probably be back. But Cassie Miller, I don't think people realize how good she is. She's the reason Chicago made that final in 2021 because, Nair had the Olympics and then she got injured. Cassie started most of that season and brought them to the final. So I think it was just kind of to shake it up, to get that motivation going. And happy for Cassie. She's a fan favorite as well. So it's been nice to watch her get some minutes too.
I think both of our teams basically took this offseason to load up on known quantities. Pretty much every player that we brought in outside of, the rookies are all players that can play, have played at a high level and can take, because I think we're both in that win now mode. Obviously you had a taste of it last season and we're just starting to get to that spot, but I think the future is bright for both of these teams. And I think we play each other the last week of the season.
I think it's near the end for sure, if not the last.
That'll be fun because that would be the true who won the offseason game there. But all right, last positive thing, your stadium is getting updated.
Yes.
And I saw a post about it, and it said these are things to get excited about. It said the pitch club is 15 feet from the pitch. Do you know what that is about?
I think that's the rich people area.
The stuff like field seats.
Yep. So the field seats.
Gotcha.
I think the players walk through there, so you get that.
Yeah.
So, I think the team is, when you're building a stadium, gotta make sure to get that stuff for the high
rollers.
High rollers, yep.
Yeah. Very good. So you're also going to have bar areas behind the goal lines. So that's going to be right in your section.
Yeah, we've seen some prints, and there should be an area right by ours we can go to. I've heard some other rumblings about stuff they're putting back there to make it more of just a fun area to be.
Yeah, I heard it says yard game area. I'm curious what that is all about.
Yeah, I think it's probably a place where like bags and, stuff like that. Other, tailgate type.
This is what I'm excited about. So not a single seat is more than 100 yards from the pitch. That makes a very intimate setting. That's going to be loud. That's going to be fun. That sounds awesome to me.
Yeah, that is a great addition to have everything be that close. So even if you are like, oh, I got a bad seat, you're still right on top of the action. And I think that's going to be a really good selling point for people.
All right. It says two grandstands. So I'm assuming you have your supporter section, you have two grandstands, and one side is going to be open.
Yeah, I think it's going to be that. Yeah, one side's open, the two grandstands. That. Yep.
No, that's gonna be nice because it's probably facing the water.
Exactly. I think the open's going towards the river, so you can see that from inside.
Also has quotes party corner to be named later. Any idea what the party corner is?
No idea. I know that in Children's Mercy Park for the Sporting KC games, there's like this Budweiser area where I don't know if it's a party area, but it's, a special corner thing. I think it's, maybe you get cheap beer. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. It's going to be fun, though. That stadium is going to be amazing. All right. Going back to the team. So what do you feel now that you have a new coach and a lot of new players and getting back from injury? What do you think is a realistic expectation for this team?
I think realistic is definitely playoffs. I got nervous with, seems obvious to say, but, I'm not sure. Everyone was saying, oh, Casey's going to run away. At the beginning, I was like, you guys, that's not how it works. Being in this league, as long as some of us have, it's never what you expect. And so every time someone said that, I was like, well, we're not even going to make playoffs. I think that it could be maybe a third, fourth place team or first. It really just depends how the injuries go, how the team continues to respond after last week. It's hard to tell. I would love to win the Shield. I think that's the goal. You just never know. Especially, we're not the only team that made trades. People focus on ours, but like you said, y'all made a lot of big trades. Other teams did. So
don't talk about us. We're trying to sneak in there. But Danielle, think thoughts on this weekend's game. Do you have any thoughts on this matchup?
I think it's going to be a good game. I have no idea how it's going to go either. I think goals are going to be scored. I don't know. I honestly have no idea what to expect from it.
Yeah, we're coming in and on 3 clean sheets, and we've never had that. We haven't had this since 2014, so we're riding pretty high right now.
2014.
Yeah, I know. Yes, back when the was it the minimum salary was like what, 6,000?
It might have been 7, but it was 6 or 7. I do remember that.
Yeah, like the maximum was like 30K. It's crazy that they ran a league like that.
Yeah, I look back, I was like, I don't recognize the league, and that's such a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But all right, Danielle, we've sadly come to the end of the interview. I want to thank you again for taking the time to speak with me. Obviously, there's still more for us to learn about this season, and I can't wait to have you back towards the end of the season so we can recap that and see who won the offseason.
Yes, I hope it's us, and we'll see.
You're going to be there this weekend?
I am. So I'm excited. I got to see all the former KC players that are on Gotham. So I can't miss that. So.
Absolutely. All right. So Gotham returns to action Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern, away at the Current. And I am ready for this matchup. Are you ready, Danielle?
I am so ready.
Let's go. Hi, everyone. This is Gary. Thank you for listening and supporting our project. Here are other ways you can support the show and connect with us. First, word of mouth is everything. So please share our show with anyone who might listen. Also, please rate us 5 stars on Spotify and review us on iTunes. You can purchase our merchandise at the TeePublic store. Join in the conversation on Twitter at OverGothamPod and Instagram at SoccerOverGotham. Lastly, you can email your thoughts and questions at soccerovergotham@gmail.com. Once again, thank you.